What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Bleep Bloop episode 10. Big double digits, moving up. Today we're talking all things state of play, what we've been playing personally. But before we get into that, important housekeeping of sorts. As we are officially welcome for the first time until he decides to leave us, Kyle is back as a permanent co-host on the show.
Woohoo!
Woo! Air horn sounds. The Rock's theme music hits.
No, we just talked about how it's Dwayne, and we don't.
Dwayne. Mr. Dwayne.
Yeah, no, but yeah, thanks for inviting me and letting me talk. I like talking this stuff, and hey, we have fun, so.
Yeah, sort of latched onto each other, which is, well, it's one of the things, like, when I started all of this, being here in North Dakota, like, there's not a lot of people that play games, not a lot of people that get into it, like, the background stuff and behind-the-scenes type stuff. So, like, reaching out to people online to discuss that was kind of, like, the whole driving point of everything, so this is a nice, welcome change.
Yeah, hey, look, it's growing, right? We're getting there, we're having fun. Keep it going, right? It's a whole new year.
It is. It's a year, all right. But we're skipping over the bad stuff for now. Before we get in, I would like to throw something out. We're both kind of new. Throw out a little icebreaker question as a curveball here. So, Kyle, for me, myself, and the viewers, what was your first video game? First one you played, first one you remember playing, first one that got you hooked on games?
Yeah. Oh, I definitely think it was something Nintendo, probably on GameCube as the first one. But the first, I don't remember, but the first, memory was going across the street to our neighbor's house, and there's a kid he was a year or two older than me, but close enough, right? And we would go play, and he had an original Xbox, and he had this game called Halo, and that was my first experience playing co-op campaign Halo, and I just had to get an Xbox because I was tired of going over and playing on his, and I wanted to play at home, and then my brother wanted to play, and it's like, we want one here. Finally got it, and yeah, I've had an Xbox in my house ever since. That's how I fell into it, with playing Halo, and yeah, that's my first gaming memory right there.
Not bad. I always had, growing up, I was a Nintendo and PlayStation kid, and I don't know if it's just because of my age, but I always kind of viewed, especially the original Xbox as, a quote-unquote adult console. Everyone I knew that had it was, college kids, or, the adults had them, and the little kids had your Nintendos and PlayStation still, and, The Matrix as a kid, I'm like, oh, I can't play that. That's too violent.
It's so funny, because I would say, it was the opposite feeling. Similar, in what I thought of PlayStation as opposed to you and Xbox. Very similar feeling, though, of oh, that's the older one. That's it has more weirder stuff. It has mature things. It has all these JRPGs, and it's confusing looking.
Yeah, that makes sense. For mine, the very first, there's two, and it's both on the Super Nintendo, was Kirby Dream Course, which is a weird top-down mini golf game where you play as Kirby. And the other one, I only had faint memories of. I remembered playing it. I remembered, the memories of it, but it was Killer Instinct Gold, also on Super Nintendo. And I completely forgot this game existed until, I believe it was 2013's Xbox Showcase for the Xbox One, the first one there. And they re-revealed the Killer Instinct reboot, and hearing that music kicked in, unlocked regressed memories in my mind of playing this as a kid. And I'm like, oh yeah, that was the thing that I used to spend a ton of time on. Not the best game to play as a kid when you're 3 or 4 years old, but...
I was gonna say, this is one of your first memories is Killer Instinct. I love it, though.
Yeah, there's just parts, I was like, oh yeah, the skeleton guy, and, the wolf and boxer dude. It was very faint stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then that music kicked on, I had, PTSD flashbacks to being a child.
Yeah, and it's crazy how music can really hold on to memories, too. I love it.
Yeah, and now I've still stuck with Rare ever since. Banjo, Conquer, Sea of Thieves, the Gambit. But before we get into state of play here, because that's primary topic of the show, I suppose, since that's the more positive stuff happening right now. Let's jump into what we're playing, because I know you specifically set out a goal that we've talked about for 100 games this year, and I'm just kind of cataloging on mine. So what have you been jumping into recently?
Yeah, well, recently I fell into the hole of Pal World, which is, came out on Game Pass, taking the world by storm. Pokemon with guns, essentially. But it's the survival aspect of that game that's been really, really fun. So as I'm trying to beat a bunch of games, I keep falling into these open-ended live service slash type games, that keep taking forever. Because now I'm also playing Destiny again. I got to catch up on this season. Season's over
You're
story wise, so
supporting the machine.
now I could replay it all. I'm like, I know, but you play it since the beta. They're hitting year 10. I gotta see it out, right? You gotta see it out, and you gotta support the devs that are still around. Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, falling into that, but the highlight, Pal World, really enjoying that. I see you're pulling it up. It's just the survival aspect, and it's what a Pokemon game for someone who never got deeply into Pokemon games feels like it should be. So they found a really cool balance. I really, really enjoy it. It's not that similar to what Pokemon is outside of styles. Like, if they changed the creature design, it would still be the same game, and it wouldn't be looking like Pokemon, right? So I don't think there's a lot of similarities and comparisons beyond what they look like compared to Pokemon. But yeah, and I'm playing Diablo 2 as well. Not the second Diablo. I'm playing Diablo as well.
Oh, I was about to say, I was like, Diablo 2.
With my wife Hannah. Yeah, I'm going back. No, we've been playing that as well as we've been playing Power World together. But yeah, just the new season came out, and we like just sitting down and kind of hanging out and turning the brain off and just killing things in Diablo. So it's been fun.
Nice.
But I have yet to start the next game. Yeah, I need to start the next game to beat.
So I think on that, I may make a surprising comeback of sorts and catch up with you this week, because I have been multitasking like a hermit. Finished. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but finished Contrast on my side of things on Game Pass this week. I kind of sold it to you as Tim Burton 1920s Paris noir, super stylized mixture of 2D and 3D platformer.
Okay.
I know when we talked about it initially, I was super high on it, and sadly those feelings took a drastic turn. It's very short, only I think 2.5 hours to beat, and the ideas are cool. You essentially are an imaginary friend of a young girl, and you can shift onto walls and the environment around you whenever a light's showing, and jump into the shadows and platform up to different levels, move objects in the 3D world to create platforms for you. Just very simple puzzles. Which sounds cool. The idea is great. It just falls so incredibly short of what I wanted it to. Puzzles are very upfront, move this one thing to make the bridge you need, you're done. And there's no real sense of, I guess, progression. You get one move to dash in the air to further your jumps, and that's about it. And randomly, without spoilers, towards the end of the game, the last half hour jumps entirely off the deep end of science fiction Avengers Endgame level stuff, just out of nowhere without warning, and it just ends so incredibly the biggest cliffhanger I've ever seen in a video game.
Got it.
Which is a shame, because like I said, I really enjoyed it at the start, but the more you get into it, you're see the potential, it's just not quite hitting there. The ideas are cool, they're just not super fleshed out. Everything is just a little bit behind where I want it to be.
Yeah. I just wanted you wanted it to open up more. You wanted it to be more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, 2 hours though. That's not bad.
Yeah, no, very short. It was, like I said, it was, I believe, 2012, like, original 360 arcade game in the Xbox One transition era.
Hmm.
But I doubt we'll see anything. I don't see them returning to it. As I said, it's Compulsion Games, We Happy Few, and South of Midnight coming out sometime. So I don't see them returning to this weird one-off they did. With that, I'm like one world short of beating Super Mario Wonder,
Whoa.
which my brother got me, my brother got me for Christmas, and I've been kind of finishing it off before bed each night in handheld mode. Super fun. I'm realizing now that it's my first 2D Mario I will ever beat. I've played like the old ones, played Mario 3D World, whatever. Never beat one like start to finish though, so been an experience. Super fun. Creative. I like music's good. Like the different, if you've seen some of the levels have the wonder seeds they call them, where it'll like drastically change the level, whether it turns into like a black and white sort of the colors gone shadows thing, or like you switches to a top down movement, or you switch into like a weird vehicle or a weird blob that can climb walls. Like a lot of super fun ideas. Like I said, about one world short of beating that. And
I love that. Yeah, I'm working on this still too in a very similar way, just not in a dedicated way. I think I'm still on my Switch trying. I'm trying to get through Pokemon Violet for my first ever Pokemon game beaten. I just have the Elite Four people left, then I'm done. Once I do that, I'm gonna be back to Mario, and it'd be the same. It'd be the first Mario I beat, because I just only would play it casually if other people had it, like on a Game Boy Advance, and I just never fell into these games. But yeah, that's cool that you got that far.
yeah, and it's the 3D ones I beat. Odyssey on Switch, if you haven't played that, like beyond recommendation. Mario 64 for nostalgia, like the 3D ones, I've loved every single one of them. Just never was a 2D person.
God, I got a nice.
And also, last night I started, against my better judgment, something we'll talk about later, but I started the Silent Hill A Short Message that released during the State of Play. And let me tell you, I am a baby. I don't do horror, I don't do scary movies, I don't like the spooky stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, I love the old Silent Hills, let's jump into this. Nah.
Not for you.
I'm pausing and jumping, and it's like dumb jump scare stuff. It's not even like real like spooky scary. But
yeah,
it's enough to get me.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the jump scares. Like if they're around every now and then, fine. But yeah, this is like movies too. Like I much rather like when it's scary, it's like you feel it, not because it's hopping out and shocking you in that way.
Yeah.
So I'm not a big fan of jump scares.
And that's where I think, is like I said, Silent Hill Homecoming on 360, I adored. Like that was one of my favorite 360 games. I remember playing one summer, super loved it. But that one was, hey, you have guns and weapons to defend yourself, and it's sort of the like over the shoulder camera placed in a corner sort of view. This one very much feels like they're trying to recapture what PT did on PS4, where it's first person, you're sort of going through the same hallways and rooms over and over, something's changed slightly every time, but it's okay. If you need to add it on, it's another like 2-3 hour game.
Yeah, when they announced it, I was like, all right, that's cool. It's definitely going to be short. So it was on my list, but I watched Kind of Funny stream it after, and I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not what I wanted.
So we'll see.
I'm still excited for the other ones. Like, they have, what is it, Silent Hill FE, I think, and then Silent Hill 2 remake still coming, and I believe a third one was announced for something last year when they did their big showcase, but Yeah, with those, I'll be up to 5 games, I think, now for the year. Slowly catching up.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I gotta do Bioshock at some point because especially with what we're gonna talk about later with Judas, like I gotta get that experience because the vibe I love the aesthetic of what I've seen of Bioshock. So I'm like, I just gotta finish those.
Yeah, it's so incredibly similar, and I'm so hyped for it. Leading into that, though, yeah, State of Play happened last week. I believe first one since... God, I want to say September last year was the last one they did. Somewhere around there.
Yeah, it's definitely the first one in 2024. That's
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. I know it was a lot going in, a lot of people. There's still, on the PlayStation side of things, as far as like first-party studios go, a lot of stuff still in the air. A lot of studios not really revealing what they're doing quite yet, so a lot of people are going into this like, this is going to be the one. Not quite, but still a really good show. I'm excited for a lot more things than I was going in. Did you have any expectations going in, or are you super into what PlayStation's putting out right now?
Overall, I was just like, we don't know really anything, and I try not to get too hype about anything. So I was just more interested in seeing what they were going to show, just similar to Xbox with their Direct the previous week. We just didn't know yet, so we definitely kind of learned what they're doing for some of the year this year. And I liked what they show. I think it was an adequate showing, and nothing super crazy if you're talking about like PlayStation first party stuff. But of course, the Death Stranding news that carried the show, of course, as we go deeper into it. But yeah, overall, good show. I agree.
Yeah, and like I said, Death Stranding was definitely the highlight. What they ended off with, it's still they don't really have that tentpole title for 2024 yet, which at this point I don't know if they're going to have, because you would assume if they were first party was coming out, like they would start slowly marketing, getting the stuff out now, or even earlier if they had something lined up. But
yeah, and it's really interesting then what that might turn into, like this whole year. Like, what aren't they showing, or is there nothing else?
Yeah, it's not like they're hurting. They're gonna be fine either way. It just, as more people switch to PlayStation, I'd kind of like to know what's going on. Started out with Helldivers 2 on screen now. I'm only slightly familiar with the first. I know it's a very stark contrast to the first game as a top-down sort of shooter, and this is going full sort of like Earth Defense Force, party up, almost like a Gears Horde mode sort of vibe. February 8th release date for this year. I think that's the only thing they could have done. Just another quick hype trailer. It's out now, from now time of recording, in 4 days, so...
Yeah, I think it's interesting we're seeing, Sony's a live service game push here. Like, this would be the first one that's more of a live service-y feel and whatnot. And, I mean, it looks cool. What's the staying power of it? Do we know, is it on, like, their PlayStation Plus program, or is this, you gotta buy it to play it?
Yeah, I believe they're finally doing that, actually. I believe for February it will be part of, like, their essential, like, the 3 free games you get.
Okay.
So it will be a part of that, which they learned after screwing stuff like Dreams over, not doing that, but...
Yeah, because that's, like, the biggest thing with those, with these live service games and such. You just need to have a player base, and it looks fun, but I think how repetitive is it going to be? How much mission variety? If it's not fully there, you're going to lose a player base pretty quickly. But, as someone who's never played Helldivers before, this would be their first one. Like, it has me interested in look. It's definitely something that I'm like, that looks like fun to play. And I'm looking forward to seeing people play it whenever they start streaming it.
Yeah, it's definitely something I'll at least jump in and check out. Like I said, it very much how much content do they have lined up, what is sort of seasons if they're doing that, or update content schedule, what's that look like. And yeah, having it in the PS Essential is the perfect move. There's so many of the live service games that have come out that I've been like, baffled they weren't included in some sort of service, and they try releasing it as a full price game or whatever, and then they're confused when it flounders at the end. But
Yeah. Yeah, there's only so many hours and so many things people want to invest in and have to worry about. So we'll see.
moving on from that, they had Stellar Blade, which I've seen people talk about online. I've seen people hype up, but I've had no recollection of this being shown before. I think it's been like 2 years now they've been showcasing it. I was like, oh, this is going to be the next best thing, next biggest thing the PlayStation needs. Didn't get it until I saw the trailer, and I'm fully 100% on board. It's a weird, like, Devil May Cry, Cyberpunk, Bayonetta, action, sort of RPG game. By a Korean studio named called Shift Up, which I believe before, after I looked them up, and I think they have only done a bunch of like mobile stuff before. So this is their first sort of big foray into a console game.
Yeah, these aren't my games, that's for sure. That trailer did very little for me. I was just very confused the whole time, and a lot of butt shots. Sorry, it was just on the screen.
Yeah.
That trailer just had so many butt shots, and it was just like,
service.
all right, what is this game? Is it just butts? A stellar butt coming out this fall.
More butts.
But but yeah, I mean, it just didn't capture me. It looks super cool. I know it's gonna run well. It's gonna look real pretty, but I just need to see a little more of it to know like if that's something I would want to pick up eventually. But so far, looks cool, but looks like a game that isn't for Kyle.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be a day one purchase, but I'm definitely interested. Like I said, I was a big fan of the original Bayonetta when that came out on 360, and seeing that kind of continue through the Nintendo Switch, and Devil May Cry, like, great memories of those back on Xbox One, Xbox 360 generation. Just a super flashy, stylized. I'm never good at them. I'm not getting the S ranks that they want you to get during fights, but it looks cool. It makes you feel good. Same sort of thing I got with Final Fantasy 16, honestly, as far as combat goes. Nope. Exit. Yeah, it looks cool. I think they did give this will be April 26th after being delayed a couple times. So get type for butts. Cybernetic butts. Following cybernetic butts. Move out of the way, Cyberpunk. We got chicks. Which they give this, looking at the video now, they give this a pretty decent chunk of time for this video, so they're really banking on this being a success for them. They got almost like 6 minutes of the whole showcase dedicated to this.
Yeah, and I will say this is reminding me watching the Stellar Blade stuff is that there's a lot of moments in this state of play that felt just they weren't showing things correctly. The pacing felt weird, or I guess the messaging overall felt weird. I think the messaging and what they showed in Stellar Blade might have done a little more harm than good, loosely speaking there.
Yeah, I would have to go back almost and see what they've shown in the past at the other state of plays this has been in, or where else they've showcased it, just to see like how different this is or how much it lines up with what they've previously been pushing. But after that, out of absolutely nowhere, Sonic Shadow Generations, which has me confused on what this is. It sounds like an updated version of original Sonic Generations that was on PS3 and 360, but also with a brand new like whole game with Shadow on the side as like a DLC thing. I'm not quite sure.
No, I think that you hit that right on the head there. Yeah, it's like that remake, but they added a whole Shadow area, which is super cool. I've never played a Sonic game outside of, I don't know, randomly.
Oh. So, with Sonic, the reason I said it's weird is like introducing Shadow again. Are you aware of Shadow the Hedgehog, his own solo game he had back in the day?
No, not of that type of context.
Okay, so he had his own game that had many guns, and you were shooting people in the military, and he was dropping swears, and it was a M-rated Sonic game with Shadow.
That's amazing.
So that now bringing it back, I'm like, are they gonna go with that same sort of thing, or is it just gonna be like a new Sonic game with Shadow in it and just push his past aside because he's dark and edgy?
Yeah, it's probably that one.
Yeah. It reminds me of, they did it on, I think it was Switch or Wii U, where they re-released Mario 3D World with like the Bowser's Fury expansion tagged on.
Yeah, that's on Switch. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it reminds me of that.
Yeah, honestly, it makes sense for Sega to do this with Sonic. I think Sonic has kind of fallen, and remaking what I think is one of the better games of what I understand Sonic Generations was, and then adding more to it with Shadow, all preparing for, of course, the third Sonic movie, coming out, and that property kind of finding new life in with the live action movies. This makes sense.
Yeah, and having it come out, they did say fall this year, so it'll be around shortly before the movie comes out. So
yeah, so it makes sense they're having a Shadow aspect added to this.
Make that money.
Mm-mm-mm.
Moving on to more butts, Zenless Zone Zero, which I don't get the appeal. This is another Hoyoverse game, Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail. They're sort of gotcha gambling hidden games that are absolutely like blowing up for everyone online right now, but
It's that mobile market. That's what those games are. Even though it's on PlayStation, but it's that, yeah, it's that style. So
yeah, I've seen people fall in like addiction holes for this online, and like constantly buying into it to get better roles of characters or whatever you're doing. Like, I would need to avoid this at all costs because I would be that person.
Yeah, well, I guess if this comes out and it's not, monetized in a mobile sense, right? Which it makes sense for that market in a way. Yeah, if it's a full-fledged thing, and you get all those aspects that you want to pay for, but you get them in this full, complete package, sounds great for people who love these types of games. But yeah, didn't make me want to play it.
No, either way, we could sit here and talk about it to be $1 million seller game no matter what.
Oh yeah,
Top seller. After that, moving on to semi more butts with Foam Stars, sort of the joke game of 2023, the not Splatoon fighter. Still didn't do much for me. I'm rightfully confused and very curious to see how this game goes once it launches in 2 days.
Yeah, that's what's crazy. It comes out soon. I love the idea of these games, right? This like, hey, let's go play Foam Stars. We're doing this now. Let's hop over to a different party game, and now it makes sense in that regard if you had a suite of party style games on your subscription platform.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I just don't think Foam Stars is like. I wouldn't return to a game just like I don't return to Fall Guys consistently. It's when I'm in that mood, or you have a group of friends like, hey, what do you want to do? Oh, let's play this. Oh yeah, let's all go mess around, but we're hanging out together. I just, once the hype is over, how many people are going to still be playing Foam Stars?
Yeah, you're not being like a Foam Stars content creator just focusing on just this.
Yeah, no, I mean, you try it out because that's where all the eyes and everyone wants to know, and then you move on. And I don't see this game in a lot of live service games keeping people invested. But hey, it's on PlayStation Plus. Good for them. That's good.
Yeah,
so hopefully they can capture something.
Another free title nailed down, and it's weird coming from Square Enix. Like, this is like something I would have expected from them back in the PS2 days, where they're just like throwing anything at the wall to stick.
And that honestly is kind of like, maybe that's a hopeful thing. Like, hey, they're trying more stuff because they're just gonna put it on a subscription thing, and if it catches on for 3 to 6 months, hey, isn't that a success in a way? It just depends on how much you invest in it, money wise, beforehand.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It does say available on PlayStation Plus February 6th to March 4th. After that, will be available for a $30 buy-in. So Get in
So
that first month.
okay, nah, I'll look into it. I'm like, so if so is it goes out of the service after the month, or
No,
if
just
I
because it's part of the like February's lineup of free stuff to download. It's the same thing when March's games rotate in, then you'll have to
oh,
pay for it after.
it's like games with gold.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like a free game. They got it.
Yep.
Oh, see, that's really interesting. So they're saying, okay, good luck this month, and then if after that
Yeah.
you're gonna have to buy it.
If you're interested, download it, hit the purchase button just to have it. Okay with the $30 thing, because it'll be interesting to see what they do with microtransactions, stuff like that, and how like colorful and designed they're making the characters. I see that being cosmetics left and right.
Yeah, which good for them, I guess. Won't last long if that's the case.
No, they'll start releasing the Final Fantasy VII costumes when that comes out to get the second push going.
Damn, that's coming though.
It is. It's Square.
Yep.
After that was Dave the Diver coming to PlayStation, which I'm still completely unaware of. We talked about it a bit when we did Game of the Year stuff,
Oh yeah.
but I've yet to jump into it, see what the game actually is, or what you're doing in it. But it's coming to PlayStation with Godzilla of all things down the road.
Yeah, it was I mean, I was like, hell yeah, of course, Dave the Diver is gonna go to every platform at some point eventually. Good, that's good for them. Good game. Have fun. I've never played it. I'm gonna play it eventually. Similar to you. The Godzilla thing is super cool. That was the really unexpected part. I just was like, of course, adding Dave the Diver, and then Godzilla pops out of the water, and that's really cool. I like that. That's kind of what this is doing.
Yeah, I'm all down for weird fun. Also, the shark octopus. What was that?
Oh yeah.
All down for the weird, goofy collaborations that aren't just like, hey, here's some character skins. Like, out of all things to put in this game, Godzilla would not been on the top of my list.
But it makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, he just comes out of the water, and you're like, oh, of course it's Godzilla. Of course it's Godzilla, right?
It's not something
you
you
also
question.
have you gotta go you gotta go fishing so you can have a sushi restaurant. It's a Dave the Diver, baby.
Get some Godzilla rolls coming up.
I mean, he's gonna flame grill all the stuff for you.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, it's fun. So I like stuff like this.
Unique. And I'm so used to, like, especially in my Smite days, like, oh, hey, you're getting Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or something, and it's just, like, cheap skins thrown on. Like, that, nah. I want actually, like, in-depth cool things that you wouldn't expect.
It's this game. Smite has skins, but they're skins from home.
Yeah.
Did you get what I was trying to say?
Meme to meme. V Rising after, which this caught me off guard. I'm slightly interested. It's reminds me, just because of the aesthetic and the camera angle, like a Diablo 4 crafting city builder almost with a castle. Not quite sure.
Yeah, this didn't catch my attention. It looks like, oh, it's like Diablo. But obviously it's not like Diablo because it's more, it's a little different.
Yeah, just
But yeah, it
the
just
combat.
didn't, it didn't capture me. So.
Something new. It'll be interesting. This is another by a studio called Stunlock, which have mostly done, I don't even know, a bunch of like free to play champion based stuff. Not quite like.
Oh, it is on early access too.
Oh, is it?
It's yeah, it's been since 2022 on PC. So
Weird.
it's just getting added.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to check that out then. Like I said, I'm slightly caught my attention at least. Something that I wasn't expecting to see.
Yeah. It seems like it's decent, so that's cool. It has like survival game aspects to it. Cool.
Yeah. And then the spooky section. Silent Hill short message talked about earlier. I believe.
Love a shadow drop.
Yeah, love a shadow drop for what it is. This character model is not representative of the rest of the game. She sticks out like a sore thumb, I will say that right now. Every scene she's in does not fit any of the black backgrounds or anything she's in. Work on the characters. I believe it's a standalone thing in the sense of Like, yeah, it's a new story, new characters, new protagonists, new setting, everything. Does take place in, like, current times. COVID is mentioned a bunch, city shutdowns mentioned, stuff like that. Um, I'm curious to see if it ties in with Silent Hill FE, just because the sort of main, I don't want to say bad guy, but the demon thing that's scuttling around after you is reminiscent of one of the characters they showed in that initial trailer last year. This thing, not about it. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, you would, yeah, you would think and or wonder, yeah, is this going to connect to the next one? Is what is the purpose of releasing this? Like, why did they? Because obviously, there's a reason they built this, right? They were testing something, trying to figure something out, or trying to get the vibe. Maybe it is like PT, it is just a playable test, and they released it, right? It's a very similar thing here. So I just haven't played. I haven't played any Silent Hill. It's just I have such a gap in my gaming history, and it's all PlayStation based. It's specifically the State of Play.
yeah.
It's funny, but
Let me see. Oh, F. Let me see if you're watching stream. I'll pull it up for you here. The thing. Very similar to this thing with the flowers and blossoms on them. So that's what makes
yeah,
me
it's
think it's
similar
like
vibe.
a same sort of thing going on, which is interesting. I'm all for stuff being tied in together like that.
Yeah. Well, you build out the world, right? I think that would be the best part of this is like, hey, a fun little demo. It's short. It's not like a full-fledged thing. Enjoy it. And it's setting the vibe. It's setting the tone. It's expanding the world that they're messing with in this way. That's cool. But again, I love shadow drops. Free things are fun.
Leading in from that was Silent Hill 2 Remake, which I know has been super anticipated. Something I've been more pessimistic on, just because it's being handled by a Bloober team, which were in charge. If you've played or seen Layers of Fear or what's the one that came out 2 years ago on Xbox? The Medium was their
Okay.
last title that came out, and they got handed the reins for the remake of Silent Hill 2, which is fine. They do okay things, just nothing they've done is really like stuck and become that big like hit for them.
Yeah, that's true.
And something as like well regarded as Silent Hill 2, like that's the one. No one talks about 1. The other ones are okay. Downpour was fine. Two's the sort of shining star for the series. So if it's not done in a way that like the Resident Evil remakes are done, there's gonna be a lot of blowback from the community, I think.
Yeah, it seems like this. Yeah, I would. Yeah, seems like the remake has a lot it needs to accomplish.
Yeah. There's a
But-
list of things that they need to hit, and it's just
Hmm.
I don't know yet. I need to see more. It could be to how long ago was this gameplay from? Because it was ended, I think, at the end it says something like now in development. Like, it doesn't even give a hint of a time frame for this, so.
Yeah, I think that's like, what does that mean? Yeah, now in development, like now. So this is newer, or is it? Yeah, is it an announcement to get maybe some people to join the team, or is it? Hey, this is coming out soon. Because it looks kind of rough, I would say. It didn't look like. It looked like a remake of a game, right? Whereas the other Resident Evil, which you mentioned, seemed more like they remade it, even just from a trailer perspective, having not played them. But this one looks like, oh yeah, this is an old game they're remaking.
Yeah, that's what I said when we were watching it. It reminded me of, like, oh, this was a 360 and it got, like, an HD re release on PS4 or something. Like, just a slight nudge up of what it was to get it on a new platform. But we'll see. I know Konami's sort of up in the air with things right now, so wait and see. And next, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, my personal highlight of the entire show was Judas, which I think the last time we saw this was 2022 Game Awards was the reveal announcement for this. Ghost Story Games led by Ken Levine. Obviously, as you mentioned earlier, Bioshock fame, System Shock, like very storied history. And this, in base terms, looks like a new Bioshock set in space. Tones there, the weird off-put settings there, weird freaky characters, the sort of power usage when her hands on fire and doing that stuff is very like night and day Bioshock. You could pass one off as the other sort of thing. Let's see.
This one got definitely got my interest. I again have not beaten Bioshock. I played about 3 hours of the first one and then stopped for various reasons. But just the aesthetic, the vibe, it also reminds me of the Outer Worlds style and aesthetic a little bit, and I like that kind of almost cartoony, but clay like kind of I don't know. It's a the style I really enjoy. And yeah, this trailer just gave us so much more context but without sharing anything, as opposed to like the Game Awards one, which was like the vibe and like, oh yeah, this is a Ken Levine game called Judas, not knowing fully what that means. This one, I get a more gist of what the story or what we're going with, and it looks awesome. Just the visuals, the color. I love the art direction and the stylized nature of it. It's so cool.
Yeah, I hope
Like the little car things, those are so cool.
this little buddy. I loved him till he got cut in half, and then the weird horse. Like this is all. It lines up so well. I just hope. I have a worry that the story is gonna fall just because I feel like he would want to try and recreate what he did with Bioshock, which I'm not going to talk about because yeah, if you haven't played it, like that's historically one of the best things in games. Like, and I feel like they're going to focus too much on trying to recreate that sort of moment, and everything else may fall apart. But because as much as I love Bioshock, I sent you. I have a huge tattoo on my leg. Love the game. Gunplay and the actual gameplay of Bioshock 1 is not good at all. Like, that's severely carried by the story.
That makes sense. That's good to know, too. Yeah. Yeah, I would hope that since it's been so long since Bioshock has come out, and what has he been working on? Like, why have you been waiting so long? So hopefully, that helps the story. Hopefully he's not sitting back on what made him famous before. But yeah, because this looks really cool, and this is definitely a highlight, or it's on my list of I gotta play it when it comes out. Did they give us a date or no? This was the one that was vague still, right? One of those.
I don't think a date was announced. I think it might have said 2024 at the end.
Okay.
Which even if not, I'll take it 2025. Give it as much time as they need. Like I'll be waiting because I'm not getting a new Bioshock anytime soon. That's been rumored for the past 4 years and hasn't moved.
Yeah, it's really interesting too because like in the trailer right before that it went to black, like it cut between two different versions of the woman that's facing you for whatever reason, and I wonder if there's like if there's double layers going on, and I don't know. Now I'm just trying to dissect this trailer because it's really cool.
Yeah, I think it was a sort of like a bathroom mirror shot sort of thing. Where like it's a first person, but you're looking at yourself. That's what that was.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah, those hands are so cool. Like the particle effects are really cool.
Fix what you broke. Yeah, and that's. Oh, never mind. It doesn't say 2024. I'm a liar.
Yeah, it just says in development.
Hype.
Yeah. So another thing though, we didn't get dates on this stuff.
Yeah. Your section for VR games.
It's someone who doesn't have a PSVR at all.
Metro Awakening VR, which we talked a little bit before this happened, how I said I saw some stuff that was leaked. This was one of the ones that I saw beforehand, so I was expecting it. Never been into the Metro games. I don't even think I've attempted to play any of them yet, so I have nothing to add on.
Yeah, I think we could kind of talk about both of these games here because I think it's Legendary Tales is the other VR game or something.
Yep.
I think overall it's good to see State of Play have 2 VR titles for PSVR 2, and it be like Metro that's like you didn't play it, I haven't played it, but I know that's a recognizable brand. Like I know the name and I know exactly what type of game that is, but it's not a game I played. So it might not be the most popular, but it's cool to see these, franchises, these IPs, and then studios still commit to VR because I think it just hasn't been. I think it's great experiences, right? And I think there is a platform for those types of games, just like there is for um, now Switch Sports or Wii Sports. Like I think there's use cases for that, and that those games should matter. I think Plastic Instruments. I think those type of games are going to come back too because it's again party games and gathering around and playing all together. It's just unique ways of playing it. I think VR is here to stay. We need games to have that though. Why should I buy a PS? I have no interest in buying a PSVR 2. No interest right now. There's not games for me to justify it, right? Like that's just where I'm at. So add more games where I feel like I'm missing out, and I'm gonna want that. So they look cool. I like what they saw. I mean, the evolution of VR games is really cool, and the fact that you could pick up a skeleton and beat him up is
Oh
really
yeah.
cool. Just those aspects, as long as you figure out the motion sickness and the visual stuff, it's really fun once your brain can kind of buy into the world that is digitally on your face.
Yeah, that when Legendary Tales started, like halfway through this trailer specifically, me and Caitlin watched this together. And I turned to her and was like, "God damn it, Kyle was right. This is dope." Like this is the first one that I've seen where like I'm all in. Like I would play the shit out of this. And then they showed the multiplayer aspect. Oh,
hmm
so cool.
That's like being able to play multiplayer too. Is it would make this a lot more engaging too. It's a price point still, of course. It's still real expensive to get into because what you have to buy a PlayStation 5 and the $250-$300 headset. So that's a lot of
Oh, I
money
thought it
just
was
to
more
play
than
these.
that. Still, even.
It might be more, yeah. But see, that's just how much it costs just to play these type of games. So, hey, once it comes down, it come down. But I love seeing these games, and I want to see more unique takes on them. I love Super Hot VR. That was really fun, but I want to see different games.
PSVR 2 550 from PlayStation Direct.
Wow, so that is a grand and a half hundred.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, see, like it's just like how do you justify that when I pay $500 and I can get a PS5 or an Xbox Series X, or I can get a PSVR 2 and not be able to play all. I don't know. Wow, that's
Yeah.
expensive.
A lot of questions. And it's too, like you said, with the game front, like we got two real cool, like very diverse new titles announced, but still nothing from like PlayStation directly. Like, did their own studios sort of give up on this already, or are they just hoping that enough third-party games come to the platform to support it itself? I don't know.
Yeah, is this just the tail end of development?
Already?
Are we done seeing it and they're gonna move off of it? I hope not, because again, it's cool tech. I love this type of tech, but you just it costs money and you gotta justify it, I guess. But either way, cool to see games, especially at a state of play. VR games.
Dragon's Dogma 2 was next, which I believe I grabbed in our fantasy draft this year just based off of online talk. I remember when the first one came out initially, and it was sort of just like, oh, this is kind of cool. I don't remember it like starting a big movement or anything, but the second one now very looks like they took a lot of what they learned from Monster Hunter and that sort of gameplay style and turned it into just an RPG instead of like going and hunting things specifically. It's just its own open world RPG game now. Well, it looks cool. Graphics are really awesome. Magical effects, like everything happening runs super smooth. Looks real nice. I'm just curious to see how this turns out to be in 2024. It's very like, here's your character you make, and you sort of, if I remember right, you can summon in pawns, they're called, which I think if you're playing online, they're like based off of other people's characters, and you get like AI companions of their own characters to party with you and adventure with. But
Yeah, I don't know anything about this series. This direct is super, or this state of play is fun. It looked like I think it definitely looks really pretty, and it reminds me a lot visually of like Forspoken in that regard.
Oh yeah,
And I think with these type of games, I think it really is just, do you have the meat on it to sustain this, right? I think you're saying it's like this is the next, like this is a huge game, it's awesome, looks cool, but I don't know, is it like Forspoken, which seemed a little lackluster, right? Is it like these other games that released and they don't seem to be fully what people want? Kind of like Lords of the Fallen, right? It was like almost, but not fully what it was there. At least that's the sentiment. I have not played these games, but that's the sentiment I
yeah.
anecdotally gotten. Um, but yeah, so it falls into that category for me, for sure. God, it looks pretty though. Like the drag, like the fight, all the particle effects on the dragon skin and texture looks so cool.
Yeah, it's as we said earlier, sort of with foam stars of companies trying to like finally branch out and do other weird things now. I feel like this for Capcom, they're like, hey, we have our success of reviving Resident Evil to be like this top level thing. Let's go back to this thing from 10 years ago and see how that kind of fares nowadays. Which is cool. We need more of that. There's so many sequels to things and just like rehashed games that anything new or revisitation of I'm completely supportive of. After
Did that
that,
get a date, or is that 2024, or did we?
oh
Oh yeah,
yeah,
March 22nd.
March 22nd, which is the same day as. Oh, there's a few. I think that's the same day Princess Peach Showtime comes out, and another
Man.
PlayStation games comes out that day. Like they have just everything stacked.
And Peach is gonna blow him out of the water.
Peach is gonna blow out. Nintendo's laughing their way to the bank.
Like these idiots. They don't realize
Uh,
what we got cooking.
I'm looking because I want to say there was another thing in this showcase actually that's coming out. 2024. As I look for that, moving on was Rise of the Ronin from Team Ninja. Recently worked on the Neo games. Um, this, yeah, I have a lot of questions on. I'm interested in it. It reminds me a lot of obviously like Ghost of Tsushima, but mixed with a Bloodborne Dark Souls style game. Um,
Assassin's Creed.
yeah, yeah,
Like I don't know. This game looks cool. It's probably gonna be fun. I fear we're about to get hit with a lot of I am tired of Japanese this period. I don't know the period this is in. I just feel like with Ghost of Tsushima, then we're gonna get the second one, then we have Ronin, and then I keep wanting to say Avatar, but it's not Avatar. Assassin's Creed is also going most likely to feudal Japan. Feudal, that's what the era is.
yeah. With Assassin's Creed Red.
Yeah, I'm just like, man, I'm kind of bummed. We're getting a lot of this type of aesthetic and style. So I hope, because I'm already like, this looks like Ghost of Tsushima, which it's not at all, right? Like it's its own, it's very different, but aesthetically, I'm like, it looks really similar, and I worry about that with it because makes me just like, oh, this is just a samurai Assassin's Creed game. That's what it kind of reads off to me.
Yeah, which sucks because that's sort of what happened to them with Neo too. Because they released those
Really?
and they were both sort of they're the same style like setting, but they were just sort of overshadowed by Sekiro. They came out right around the same time, like I want to say within a month or two of each other, and just were completely overshadowed by it. So
That's a bummer.
yeah, and
Yeah.
this was the other one. This is the other one coming out March 22nd. So this Dragon's Dogma and Princess Peach all on the same day.
Which is wild for me if you're PlayStation that you have these two games coming out, Dragon's Dogma and Rise of the Ronin on the same day. Especially in the same state of play. I know they're not like first party studios making these, right? Is Team Ninja? I don't know.
No, Team Ninja is separate. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it's like I don't know why. That's two big games I would say from this direct or state of play come out on the same day.
And then showcase them one after another at the same show.
Yeah, and they're very different, but they're also very they're two big games that are RPG or have RPG elements too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So interesting. Yeah, it's kind of we'll see.
And yeah,
Yeah,
Team
it looks
Ninja.
cool though.
Yeah, Team Ninja is under Koei Tecmo in Japan, so Omega Force to make the Dynasty Warriors games. All those oh god, they just did a Persona one, not Persona 5 Tactica, but the other one, Persona 5 something.
Royal.
No, I forget.
I
But
don't
they're
know.
all sort of like hack and slash mode down like thousands of enemies, super over the top, goofy like brawlers almost.
Gotcha.
And that, as you said, March 22nd. Until Dawn was next, which this was another one on the leak beforehand, and sort of kind of they announced prematurely because they took it down from the stores. Oh, Persona 5 Strikers is what I was looking for.
Ah,
They took Until Dawn down digitally on like PS4 and PS5, so you couldn't buy it anymore. So people kind of like, oh, this is happening. And they just announced they're making it into a movie, so sure, double dip, I guess.
yeah. No, it makes sense. I just yeah, it didn't look the best. I was expected a little more out of the graphics, but hey, whatever.
Yeah, another spooky game. Haven't played,
Um,
have no interest in playing.
Oh, you haven't played it?
No.
I would say if you ever like if there's like a if you can get the game for free, even like the old version, I think it's like something to sit down and play with someone else. You know, it's worth it if you're gonna play those type of games because that's like the original. I think the studio hasn't figured out the next hasn't hit the same high as Until Dawn.
Yeah, if anything,
But they're
I see
making a
my...
movie, so just wait to watch it.
Was she after movie? Are they bringing like all the people in? Like, is Rami
That'd be-
Malek gonna bring his
Yeah.
character again?
You would hope so. I mean, if you're those actors, I mean, come on. What a way to make a ton of money and have a little cult classic that's not a cult classic with Until Dawn. If you all come back, what a cast that would
Yeah.
be.
Yeah, if anything, I can see myself watching Caitlin play this. She's played through
Yeah.
Man of Medan and like the other ones they've done. I've watched her do those, so I feel like that'll be the case for this.
Oh yeah, definitely. If you both haven't played it, I recommend it. Especially if she likes them.
And finally, with the goofiest, weirdest shit they could have ended on, Death Stranding 2 on the beach.
Now, did we know this? Did people know this was coming? Because I just wonder. Because man, I was not expecting the 9-minute Death Stranding 2 trailer, and it delivered.
It was part of the leak online beforehand.
Okay,
So
that's a bummer because I didn't. I mean, I didn't know, and it was just like, oh, it's the trailer. It's
Yeah.
the trailer. It
even
keeps
like
going.
the name leaked for it. So yeah, people large majority knew. I'm so confused. Have you done first Death Stranding?
I got like almost halfway through, and then my PC was just like, no, because I bought it on Steam when they put it on, when they added it to PC, and I just couldn't. So now it is on my list to play this year with Hannah, because she is just watched this trailer and is like, what the hell? And I was like, we have to play the first game together because it is wild bonkers. Just not crazy out there story. It's just, man, just the setting is so weird. I love it.
Yeah.
But there's just like the aesthetic of just walking, and then I don't know. I like the vibe of it.
So Kojima is my sort of like, not black sheep, but like the thing that I've missed out on. Like I've never beaten a Metal Gear game. I didn't get into Death Stranding. I didn't. Nothing
Did
he's
you like
touched.
play Death Stranding or?
Nope, never had. Because I
Got it.
got
Okay,
my
good.
PS4 super late, like shortly before I got my PS5, so it just passed by.
Nice, got it.
So yeah, I was completely lost. And there's so much. We watched this with just our mouths open, just at a loss.
Yeah, no, I was the same way. I'm just like, what? And then it starts going into like on the beach and then on the shit, and it's like, oh, there's different areas. What are they doing? And then I like it. It's such a weird trailer. No idea what's going on because I have not beaten the first game, so I'm confused too. But I don't know. It's just you don't get someone like this making games like this often, right? And I think it's super cool that he kind of gets to do whatever he wants and make these games that, hey, the first one came out and it was what it was. but it's good, right? It's good, and I think people, and he just has so much. I'm excited to see what he's doing with this one because he kind of did his thing with Death Stranding, but where are you going with this one, right? Like, what's the point of the sequel here? And then he also announced, he's doing a whole new action espionage game too with Sony, which is
Yeah.
which is just awesome. And this mostly out of Death Stranding 2 trailer. I'm like, we get a game with Jordan Peele that's going to be more horror coming out. That's amazing, right? Then we get an action espionage game too coming out from him. I love it. Let him do what he wants.
Yeah, I'm just like, that's 3 projects now. He possibly could have more that he's all juggling at the same time. So, like, he's got to have grown his studio so fast to be working on this much stuff.
And he's earned it. He seems like a good guy, just wanting to make cool shit.
I did really like, further on in this trailer here, I'm assuming he's in the first game, Buddy with the guitar sword thing?
Yeah, that's Troy Baker's character.
Oh, is it?
Yep, that's Troy Baker, baby. Yeah.
Okay. Because at first I was like, that's extremely weird. And then I was like, wait, no. I fought a guy like this in Kingdom Hearts 2 with a guitar sword, so it's not that off, but still, what the hell?
That's where the trailer really goes for it, and you're like, okay. But it's just also just the engine, because it said at the beginning of the trailer, all these cinematics are captured on PS5.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like, this is super cool. So it looks like, part of the first game was you're building connections, you're building bridges that get across the landscapes, and okay, now we're fighting the environment. So, cool. Like the earth around us is crumbling, and we have to figure that out. We're on the
and you're on the moon.
I know we're not on, but you're looking at the moon. I don't think you're on the moon, right? But it looks right. It invokes space. So where are you? It's just super
and this
cool
thing,
visually.
whatever this like flying demon bat is.
Yeah, like what is that thing? So, yeah, I don't know. I think the textures look awesome. I think would be Kojima's first PS5 only title, and I think we're gonna see that in the tech, and I think you can see it in these cinematics. They look so good. So I think we're gonna get a lot of interesting gameplay elements with nature, and I think just that whole cliffside that was falling looks so cool. This trailer in 4K is a visual spectacle.
Yeah, I would say first and only PS5 game, because you would assume like after this it's OD on whatever Xbox has at the time. And then the espionage game you would assume would be like PS6.
That's PS6.
Yeah.
And that's going to be, I think that's going to be fully actor performer. We could talk about that when we get to it, but that thing's going to be something else, I think.
Yeah, would I love to jump into Death Stranding just to see what it is? 100%, but at this point I'm like, I feel like it would be jumping into like a 30 season TV series in the middle with no previous context.
Which, I mean, there's only one game though.
But am I still gonna be lost after the one game? Well, I understand the babies in the tubes. In this, yeah, Troy Baker. I would not guess this was Troy Baker's character.
Yeah. I don't know. I think these games seem similar to like a Tom Cruise movie, It's like, this is a video game from a famous video game creator. Like Top Gun and Mission Impossible is a good action movie from that guy.
I love this little puppet too.
The puppet thing, and when he puts it on his back and he's like, no, and it's like, okay, yeah, that's Mimir. That's funny. Just the self as soon as I'm like, oh my god, they're giving him a buddy to hang on his wrist or in his waist, and he's like, I like to sit in the front. I'm like, that's amazing. It's just like, yes, be weird and have fun with it and be cool. Like, this character is weird, and then he's gonna play guitar and shoot lightning out of it. That's weird as hell, and it's cool. And Norman Reedus is here.
Yeah, like you said, this is like this sort of like all the different pieces of this you would expect from like a little indie budget game. Like, there's very few people or studios that would be like, oh yeah, I have millions upon millions of dollars to do this. Like, that requires a special person behind the scenes that they're like full support. Do what you need to do. We're not going to question it. Have fun.
Oh man, I'm getting goosebumps just like, and then as each of the title cards like here drop as they're he's announcing his full team. So good. Anyways, yeah, this trailer, we're just sitting here watching this trailer now, and I love it.
I was just here for the guitar scene again. And then
I'm interested to see how it's gonna play because, especially the first one, it was really about connecting, right? You're walking around, and the gameplay there was combat-ish stuff, but I mean, there's a line in this trailer from Troy Baker's characters like, "I see you picked up a stick as opposed to a rope this run." Like, so I'm like, okay, we're getting a little more heavy in combat. He's holding a gun for sure, and then he has a baby, and that instantly melted my heart. Just look at how rosy cheeks are.
Yeah,
I'm in, and I cannot wait to play through the first one. So I haven't even beaten the first one, but I am all in on this.
Yeah, 2025. As we said at the start, it's missing this year, but it's I would assume early 2025. Just because they're doing the trailer this far out, you would assume if it was like the end of year, save it for a little while longer instead of doing like a year and a half build up.
Yeah, I'd imagine honestly spring makes sense unless I can't imagine fall 2025. That seems super far away, and I think spring is empty. First one did come out November 8th, 2019, so we'll see if they push it to fall. But yeah, a year and a half from now seems a lot, or a little more than that.
Yeah. I assume probably release date at Game Awards.
That part, should we have connected, is so good.
I don't know what that means, but yes.
The whole game was about making connections, and should we have? I don't know what it means either, but it's a good question.
And then the baby jar kicks on? Yeah, I don't know. Go off.
Yeah. Fun games. I think it's just, the animations and the character modeling work is super good, too. I'm excited just to see where he's taking his fascination with, like, that Hollywood-style tech and motion capture stuff. Excited to see where he takes it in Death Stranding 2, but also his next project with... He's partnered with Columbia Pictures as well.
Yeah, which that's what they ended off on, which... was a move. I don't know. Again, left more questions, I think. But they sort of fade in here to him with Herman Holst announcing that new espionage game. The way they talked about it, it's blending the lines of video games and movies in a way it's never done before, and a lot of marketing talk, I guess, to like people to look into until it happens, because this is 5+6 years out
easily.
But yeah, just preparations are underway. New IP, which I believe we do get the name of it, or at least the working title of it when the camera pans out here on the banner. At least that's what I got out of it.
Yeah, I think he tweeted off like it's the working title. It's like Scient or something.
Yeah, Scient Physint. PHYSINT.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, it's cool, right? It's a similar thing that he did with Xbox, right? He came on stage, talked about OD, and that was it. And he said, yeah, we're doing this. So I don't think this is anything soon. I think he's finishing Death Stranding 2. Then he's fully on board finishing up OD. And then, guess what? That's this partnership. So this is years out, I believe. This is his third game he still has to release out of the 3 he's working on. But I'm really intrigued by the video game film stuff, like what it could be taken in any way. Is he talking about Quantum Break? Is there something to watch as well as play, right? What does that mean? Is it fully live action performed?
Is it the return of FMV games?
Yeah, like is that just like what does he mean by this? And with someone like him, I mean, with the trailer on the camera pulling out too is super. I mean, that's just showing the scope that they're willing to go, right? They're like, we are at our studios and we have a giant banner, most likely. It's probably not photoshopped on, it looks real. um, highlight and showing his new property that he's working on, partnered with Sony. I don't know. It's cool. I mean, what they're hinting at is really interesting. But yeah, we're all going to be speculating about it until we know what it is in 2-3 years.
Yeah, and there's I don't know if you've seen it, but Fred Mirabella tweeted a little like paragraph of breakdown of this whole trailer, and it just kind of like pointing out all the different parts they do and like how many actual different camera shots they use in this reveal, and this big pan out to the like studio lot to show, like you said, how much they're willing to put behind this and how large of a business backing they have for him to do this, and how I don't know. It's so many questions. It's hard to even talk about because like yeah, it's a big announcement of a new thing that's cutting edge technology and interactive experience, but like it's not a lot to really go off of for now. Just something to like, cool. When the next console comes out, I'm ready for it, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I think with Kojima too, we just kind of know based off of Death Stranding already, right? We just know it's more than just like a simple thing, right? He's doing something specific with it, just like he was with Death Stranding, and he's doing with Death Stranding 2, and like apparently he did with Metal Gear Solid. Haven't played them. So I just, it feels bigger than, hey, I'm just making a game, and they're treating it that way. So
Yeah,
that's cool. It's hard, yeah.
and that pretty much it. They did end off. They're having another state of play this coming week. I believe on Tuesday or Wednesday. That's exclusively for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Have you done 7 Remake? I think we talked about it when you were doing Final Fantasy 16, but
No, I have only played Final Fantasy 16.
okay.
I don't think I'm gonna play remake or rebirth.
Yeah, I missed 7 entirely when it initially came out, and I just got around to Remake last year. Just because the guy in charge is his name escapes me, but he's one of the lead guys from Kingdom Hearts, so the combat kind of carries over.
Oh, okay.
So I jumped into it for that. Okay, time. It didn't grab me as much as everyone else did. I know, like, Game of the Years across the board when that came out. Slightly more excited for Rebirth when that drops again this month, end of the month, 29th. And I'll put money down now. This is my early prediction for Game of the Year at the Game Awards this year.
It's a good pick, mostly because we don't know a ton about anything else.
Yeah, and the fans are rabid.
I mean, and now that I know more about what Final Fantasy VII was and what Remake is and what Rebirth is, I'm like, I get it. And yeah, I get why people are hyped for this. I get why you're saying it's probably your front runner for Game of the Year, right? I get that. So that's cool.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't know if I'm going to jump into it. Just because there's so much other stuff. But I'm sure by the end of the month I will still be playing Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, which I forgot to mention earlier. But
oh, yeah.
that was my life. It's a good time. I know it's not your thing, but let me tell you, I'm currently in the process of helping my crawfish Nancy fall in love with a hermit crab. And she picked him from some flowers, and we're taking him to the beach on a little date. And it's a good time.
So proud.
Nancy's in love.
Sounds like a great time.
It is. And then you see someone get, like, gutted and filleted like a fish in an alley, and you're like, what?
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
But, yeah, that was State of Play for January. We didn't plan a way to get out of this. Do you have anything else you want to throw in here before we sign off? We're just over hour 20 minutes here almost.
No, I'm good. I want to... Yeah, that's it.
Okay, yeah, till next time, let me think. We'll be hopefully starting on my side of things. Uh, Once I finish off Mario Wonder and stuff, we'll be starting. I think we decided on Jasant to follow what Kyle's played on stream, so that'll be the next thing this week. And yeah,
I love Jasant.
I hope I do. I'm excited.
It's a peaceful little game. I like it.
It was between that and I downloaded Dead Space Remake as well because I've never played the original Dead Space.
That makes sense. I'll say with Jasant, there's you have to use both triggers to climb, so you're like left hand is left, right hand's right. My fingers got tired. I turned that off eventually, like halfway through. Enjoyed it way more. I get what they were doing, but for me personally, I was like, all right, I'm kind of tired of moving my trigger fingers all the time.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
But just a heads up. So if that's an issue, you're like, I don't like this, just turn those off.
Heard. Will do. I'm sure this coming week, whenever we decide to record, be a banger news week from the sounds of things. We'll cross that when we get to it.
Yeah, we'll talk when Xbox says something.
Yeah, I hope it's this week. If we have to go more time, I'm gonna freak.
Yeah. The only thing, I think they have already said something, but I think they do need to be more clear. But I do think they already told everyone. I just think people don't like what they said.
Yeah. Are we gonna be getting Halo Infinite 2 on PlayStation 6? Who knows? We'll find out.
Not at all.
God, it's a mess.
Now, Master Chief Collection, yes.
I've people online with Halo Infinite today. It's coming.
Yeah, it's super interesting the fact that the rumor. Since we're talking about it real quick, the rumor that Xbox is adding, Microsoft is putting stuff like Starfield, Hi-Fi Rush, and everything on stuff like that on PlayStation 6,
Indiana Jones,
or on PlayStation platforms. Indiana Jones, and again, a lot of rumors, but again. Respective people also saying, yeah, this is true. But this is Sunday night that we're talking about this, so I want to wait and see what Xbox is saying tomorrow, Monday, or this week. But man, if they don't say something, they're just letting the discourse run. But it is discourse, right? I don't know this person's sources, right? This person has yet to name any valuable sources, but they have in the past. So I don't know. It's tricky. Starfield and Indy would be like really crazy, but also would make sense. Like, no, Bethesda is going to do what they want, and I kind of get that, but it's hard because they straight out said no
multiple times,
and that's why I think the Starfield one's fake. Like, I don't think Starfield's going anywhere else, but I think other ones will. But yeah, anyways. Since we mentioned it, just wanted to explain.
We'll see. Like I said, it'll probably be a majority of this coming week's show when we do, because I hope something comes out of it sooner than later, because at this point Twitter's gonna like burn to the ground internally if not, because
and honestly, let Twitter burn to the ground internally.
It's a sad time. I'm staying off tomorrow unless I see something crazy. I'm at work. I'm like, I need the break after today.
Definitely take a break, because it's only Twitter that's burning up about this Xbox stuff. But this is fun.
Thanks for joining for the first official time. Moving on. What do you got going on this week? Are you streaming, doing anything special on your side?
Yeah, I'm going to try to stream this week. Still working on consistency. You know, baby makes that real hard, as she is almost 6 months on Valentine's Day. She'll be 6 months. So still young and still figuring it out. But you can always find stuff over at Kyle the Fish 30 on YouTube and Twitch. Yeah, and if you're listening to this on YouTube or whatever, be sure to drop comments giving tons of praise to Kyle, who's doing thumbnails now. They look real good, because I attempted my own this week and that turned out like shit, so... Hey, no, I like doing it, and I've been doing it for a while, so... Yeah, no, they look really good. We're very, very appreciative of where we've gone since our initial meetings, but... till next time, this is Bleep Bloop Episode 10, State of Play 2023. Goodbye.